From the KELOLAND Digital Desk, I'm meteorologist Scott Mundt, and this is Weather or Not. It's Thursday, November 6th, and we more or less have the same outline as what we had a couple of days ago. We'll talk about snow coming. We'll talk about cold temperatures and also weather pattern, too. As the cold air doesn't last, whatever snow you get that may accumulate, that will melt, as temperatures will return above average into next week, probably returning to the 60s in some locations. So every bit of seeing temperatures back to the 50s. So whatever snow we get, it will not last. Let's go ahead and start with Futurecast, today's forecast. We are watching a cold front that will move west to east across the area. More of a wind shift line than anything else, as winds will become west behind it to northwest into western South Dakota. This is during the afternoon. We'll probably have some cloud cover, eastern, southeastern KELOLAND. There may be a scattered sprinkle here and there. Otherwise, nothing really expected to fall out of any of those clouds. If it does, it will remain very, very light. And then as we get into tomorrow, I think we'll have to watch, and I'll talk about this with the next graphic coming up, we'll have to watch a surge of some colder air that's coming in, riding stronger northwest winds, probably later in the morning, maybe into the afternoon. Have to watch the timing of it. But once those strong northwest winds move through, I think you're done warming for the day. We'll still have temperatures above average that will go into the almanacs, but during the afternoon, probably be colder than what we have late morning to around the midday hour. And here's Futurecast at 3 in the afternoon for tomorrow. It's showing dry conditions. Then as a clipper comes in from the northwest, and we'll talk more about this with Brian Karstens coming up a little bit later, we'll have to watch our wintry mix. Now, this will start Friday night and maybe even last into early Saturday morning in eastern and southeastern KELOLAND. Now, you can see the difference here in precipitation. What's highlighted in green, that's what the model is thinking can fall in the form of rain. And then what we have in blue, this is at midnight going into Saturday morning. What we have in blue, that's what the model is thinking could be snow. And that's showing up in Watertown, Webster, Millbank, Sisseton, and you see that purple or that pink color near Brookings. Well, that could be that mixture of rain or snow. So this quickly moves through the area Friday night into early Saturday morning. Could be one of those mornings, sure, we wake up to see some accumulating snows on the ground in eastern South Dakota, western Minnesota. We'll see how far they move into northwestern Iowa. But then there could be another hit of snow that the model's having a hard time picking up on, this particular model here. But we are watching a couple of things suggesting that we can see some evening snows in eastern and southeastern KELOLAND for Saturday. But watch that wind. It will be windy. In fact, it's already windy for this morning. And notice how we have a couple of those wind gusts, especially in the western Minnesota, getting into that 50-mile-per-hour range. So we do have some strong winds for today from the south this morning, eastern KELOLAND. But notice how they do change direction to the northwest and central and western South Dakota. Once we get into the afternoon, those winds will die down. You see how they are decreasing in Minnesota, northwestern Iowa. This is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In general, I would say wind gusts around 30 to 35. They'll continue to die down as we get into tonight. These are the wind gusts for tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. Now, in general, sure, it's showing wind gusts near 20 miles per hour. Let me go ahead and hit the clock here. Now, notice how things do jump to the 30s, the low to middle 30s, as we get into maybe the late morning hours. This is at 9, could happen at 10 o'clock. You'll have a quick hit of some stronger northwest winds. When that happens, that should help bring in some colder air for tomorrow. That when that occurs, expect those temperatures to remain steady or slowly fall as we get into the afternoon. And then during the late afternoon and evening for tomorrow, those winds will become light. And then we'll watch the cold for this weekend. So we do have a lot going on. Cold temperatures will start to pour in as the front moves through, or as the clipper moves through. And then we'll see a secondary front just in time for the second half of the weekend. By Sunday morning, we may have temperatures that can fall to the teens. Now, this particular model trying to put numbers, we'll say in the lower 20s in northeastern South Dakota. So I think we will have a couple of areas fall to the teens for overnight lows. And then during the afternoon, we may struggle to get out of the 20s. Watertown, Aberdeen, showing 31 degrees at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, 31 in Sioux Falls. So be prepared for the cold as it's on its way. Not for today, though. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s, but we will have that strong wind. And then for tonight, temperatures fall to the 30s and 40s, and that happens with mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. Coming up in the next segment here, we'll talk about our snow and be joined by meteorologist Brian Karstens. Stay with us. You're watching Weather or Not. Welcome back to Weather or Not, and I'm now joined by meteorologist Brian Karstens. Thanks for covering for me yesterday.
You're welcome.
After working a couple of weekend mornings, I decided I'll take a break. I'll take a day off, middle of the week. Nice day. Finished on a couple of things outside. I'll wait to do the inside stuff, regular inside housework, for this weekend, and for good reason, too.
Could the weather forecast have anything to do with that?
Well, exactly.
You might as well use your advantage of your insider information, right?
Now, this graphic that we're showing, this first graphic, I had this on KELOLAND this morning, Brian, and this is outlining the best chance for accumulating snow. For KELOLAND this morning, I adjusted the latitude and longitude of it just to move it because we're able to do that in our graphic system. Mm-hmm. This one has not been touched. I didn't adjust the lat or long. It has not been touched. This is the latest model data coming in. This is the 6Z Euro.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see what we've got here because we do have a little more snow popping up around Sioux Falls and adjacent areas into southwest Minnesota. Now, of course, this is one model run here, so we're careful to acknowledge that this forecast is still a work in progress, but the general idea of snow originating in North Dakota and then taking a diagonal track to the southeast is definitely still the way to go here. The ultimate question here is how much snow. A lot of this is nuisance, variety.
Yep.
It's enough just to kind of test things out a little bit,
Test your driving skills.
See, now that's a good question, and at this point, if you're going to get snow on Saturday morning and you're going to try to accumulate enough to cause anything like that, it's got to be because the ground temperature is still pretty warm. And that's one thing, too, you got to remember is a lot of that melts anyway as it's falling. And besides, the fact of the matter is temperatures are pretty mild, even in the low 30s while that snow is trying to form.
So we'll see what happens, but that's the area that I would like to highlight as the best chance for the accumulating snow. And this is a graphic, Brian, that has also been updated with the 6Z data. And this is a graphic that I put together earlier in the week, and I said I'll keep track of some of these numbers. So right now, the snow chance of at least an inch for Saturday, Friday night, Saturday, just outline that. Aberdeen, 29%, 44% Watertown, 24% in Marshall, and 48% in Sioux Falls. And notice that orange color. Northwestern Iowa, eastern South Dakota, southwestern Minnesota, trying to connect into North Dakota. So that's at an inch. And here's how things have changed as we went through the week. Starting on Monday, Sioux Falls didn't have that chance, 0. Then it went up to 2% on Tuesday, 33% yesterday. Now we're at about 50% for today. So it's a 50-50 chance that we can see at least an inch of snow in Sioux Falls, while that number in Aberdeen has fallen since yesterday. It's about the same in Watertown and about the same in Marshall, about a 1 in 4 chance for that to happen. How about this one? 3 inches or more. Well, that's showing up. 13% chance in and around Sioux Falls.
All right, so here's the thing. Numbers. We like numbers.
This is bothering me, Brian, doing this on the fly, just adjusting your camera. But go ahead.
So here's the thing. We look at numbers. We're looking at probabilities. But the most important thing to remember is that the trend.
Following that data, that trend.
Okay, so where's it going? Well, it's going up a little bit. Yesterday it was a 1 in 3 chance. Now it's almost a 1 in 2 that Sioux Falls will pick up that 1 inch of snow. Here's one thing, though, I will go back to. Even if we get snow on Saturday morning, and let's assume that the scenario is, yes, we get a nice little healthy band of snow that works through during the morning. There's still the question about the late morning warm-up because we still feel pretty confident that there's going to be a surge on the temperature out toward Mitchell and Yankton. So let's kind of keep that in mind there. But certainly once we get past maybe 2 in the afternoon, 3 o'clock and beyond, the polar front will move through, and then it's downhill from there. And then anything that's falling, it's more likely to stick on the ground.
I was going to say, it has a better chance to stick as those temperatures fall during the afternoon on Saturday.
Yep.
But we'll still time a couple of things trying to move through Saturday morning. And as you mentioned, we'll watch that bump up in temperatures. Things will probably melt. We'll see how warm we get. But right now, I think what are we holding? Lower 40s?
Saturday we're trying
morning?
to get to
Saturday?
42.
42 on Saturday. Okay.
And we examined that again today. And, I kind of thought to myself, okay, well, if there is snow in the morning and it drops to 32, maybe a little bit colder, but not by much, then, if you go and you buy into some of the modeling that is suggesting a little over an inch of snow, let's even throw out the possibility it snows 2 inches.
Okay, well, here, hold that thought, because I put this graphic together too. I already showed you that one. This one, this goes through the different computer models as to what the models are thinking for our snowfall. So the European and the GFS, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches.
Yeah, and that
how
GFS
much of that sticks and doesn't. I mean, sure, the computer models thing is dumping all this snow, but how much of it sticks?
Right. So here's a little background to that too. That GFS yesterday, I'm just giving you facts. That's all we're doing. That GFS yesterday was over 6 inches of snow.
Well, remember, we were kind of making fun of it at the beginning of the week.
Well, and so here you go. You've got that, and then yesterday the European model was under an inch, probably half inch, something like that. So now you've got the Euro up to 2. The GFS has gone down to 4.
Okay.
So give it another data set later today.
Or even, give another 6 hours.
We're plenty early. It's only Thursday. We can, here's the thing. Okay, if you really want to do the math on this, I guess we're within that 48-hour time horizon to this event. Back in the old days, Scott, when I started here, I would always be really rigid about 24 hours out is when we would produce snow forecasts that had specific numbers. 24 hours, because there's so many variables. 48, we're getting into the neighborhood. So this afternoon's weather package coming out from the Storm Center, we might have a couple more things to show there. But we've got tomorrow morning still to kind of hone in on some of these details, and rain versus snow too.
Right. This is such you've been labeling this as a nuisance snow. Do you think there will be any headlines with this weekend?
I really don't anticipate that.
And by headlines, I mean
a winter weather advisory.
Winter weather advisory.
You would really have to ramp it up. I mean, if you get some mesoscale banding where it's really focused within the width of a county, which does happen, that's not unheard of. There might be some special attention to something like that. But the assumption is, even if it snows, will it stick? Number one, or how much of it will stick? You'll melt some of that before it actually accumulates, and then you're going to be dealing with the rise in temperature on Saturday. So that might, kind of contain all of that, I think, at the end of the day.
At least that's the way the storm track is now.
That's correct.
And that too can change. Not only these numbers can change, but of course the storm track along with it will have a factor in how it changes the numbers.
Yep. So keep following little details. We'll keep kind of honing in on that. And then I think, the extra bonus there is that little bit of wind-whipped snowflake activity Saturday afternoon as you're inside doing your inside jobs. And playing your Christmas music.
Oh, yeah.
I could just imagine this in your house. And you got the crock pot probably going.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that too.
Got to come up with some warm, some chili again, maybe.
I know, we already went through that one. Spaghetti was made right before that one too. So maybe some kind of a stew. I've been putting that one off, but maybe I'll go that route.
Well, it's so chilly on Sunday. I'm thinking at least we're going to have, we got to sit down and figure out our menu too, because cold,
this is the coldest era of the season.
Yeah, yep. But here's the nice news, and I know we're going to get to this coming up, but it's not going to stay cold.
No, but that is the headline going into our next segment. Stay with us. You're watching this latest edition of Weather or Not. Welcome back to Whether or Not. It's time to talk about the cold. Brian, some of the coldest air of the season may be on the way. We've had a very warm fall. We know we've had a warm fall.
Yeah, we have really nothing to complain about. It's been very mild, and really this is just just a test run of some cold. It's going to run through, and it'll be here and gone before you know it.
Right. It doesn't last long. I think that's a key takeaway, too. So we can call it just a taste of winter. Maybe not a full bite, just a taste.
Well, it's
winter.
a good motivation for us to get things done before.
Oh, I know.
Winter
That's what I've been doing. We're trying to do. You're probably doing the same thing. My garden's out. We took
the fence out yesterday, and I've got more to clean up. But yeah, I'll get there.
Okay,
I always do.
As everybody, as we both always do. Here's a graphic that I put together about our coldest high temperatures so far this fall, and wouldn't you know it, it happened around Halloween. It's either Halloween or the day after, and this is just looking at the top 3 coldest afternoon highs for this fall. The coldest day in Sioux Falls, November 1st at 44 degrees, Halloween at 45, and you see how for it's Halloween in Aberdeen, Pierre, and Rapid City, the coldest high so far this fall. Of those numbers in the 40s. Our weekend temperatures right now, we have numbers in the 30s and 40s, and Brian, there could be a couple of areas that may stay in the 20s on Sunday.
Absolutely. And not only that, but also just the feels like temperature being way down the scale going into Sunday morning. And we're going to show some graphics on that coming up. But, yeah, it's going to be a much different feel. We're not used to it.
We got a viewer email. I should make a special graphic when we get viewer emails, or at least a nice special sound effect. And a special graphic.
There you go.
So we did receive this email. Could you add ground temps in a segment of Whether or Not as we go from fall to winter? And Brian, I think they're talking about this. Now, this is taking off of the Mesonet from South Dakota State University. And we are looking at the 4-inch soil temperatures, right?
That is correct. Yep.
And, they're warm, 40s, near 50 in southeastern South Dakota. So it's fairly warm, and we have this clipper coming through, which can generate some snow. So what's it going to do when that snow hits? Well, probably melt. Right,
because the ground temperature obviously still warm. These numbers are, by the way, you can see in the Northeast, they've cooled off down to 42, up there just north of Watertown. You got a 43 up near Britain. So, the numbers are definitely trending colder.
As they should.
As, you look at this map, though, I think about the reverse when we're in the springtime and we're talking about the soil temperature warming to near 50, and that's always kind of that benchmark for some of those particular things we put out on our lawn treatments and that type of thing. Or we talk about corn sprouting in the springtime when it's 50. So 50 degrees by mid-April or late April, So that's about where we're at right now. We're kind of at that point where we're going the reverse direction. We're cooling off. But if you get snow in April, you always expect that it's going to probably melt quickly. Although in April, the other thing is you've got a much stronger sun angle. November sun is definitely not powerful at all.
I was out in the yard, and I'm like, man, that sun angle is pretty low.
Yeah.
Yesterday, it's right in my eyes, doing that, walking the dog and doing some work around the house. I thought it was kind of funny.
Yep. So keep an eye on those numbers. That's a great point to bring up, though.
Yeah. So we'll try to visit this from time to time. Again, this is taken off of the South Dakota State University Mesonet site. So go ahead and you can even check that out for yourself if you want. Brian, you want to talk about wind chills? I have your graphic machine up right now.
Okay. So this is the latest information looking at wind chill parameters for Saturday into Sunday. This is coming our way from the European model. So we're going to look at in the morning, okay, we've got essentially Sioux Falls starts on Saturday morning. Whatever precipitation we're getting, okay, we'll set that aside for the moment. The feels like temperature is about 33. So we're right in that ballpark near freezing, right? And then it kind of holds there. It doesn't really go up a lot. But Mitchell and Yankton go up.
I'm glad you mentioned that because there is a surge of some warmer weather just to our southwest of Sioux Falls.
Yeah, you've got Hutchinson County, Yankton County. Now, this is the tricky part because we're assuming that low track, this is the second low that's kind of zooming right there, right? Probably Minor County, that's Howard, getting into McCook, We're talking Salem, and then it takes a trek down toward Elk Point. But imagine, Scott, if that storm track is off just a little bit, east or west. Now imagine that changes the weather quite a bit. So again, just something there to keep in mind. You notice the polar air up toward Aberdeen. Now your wind chill's dropping at 1 o'clock, and even Sioux Falls, 29. That's a late afternoon wind chill, but it keeps going. In fact, it's going to really sink south going into Sunday morning. And I'll argue again, the European model is still more optimistic than its counterpart, the GFS, the American model. I think the wind chills there are close to zero in parts of South Dakota.
So have you found the winter jackets, scarves, hats, gloves, or is that what you're doing
Well,
Friday or over the weekend?
We have, yes, in fact, I have to do this. I have a little discount code that I need to use at one of the stores to get a little discount on a new coat that I'm going to...
For you?
Yes, actually,
someone in the family.
Well, there's actually one for my wife, and I have one, and I think there might be another one. So it's like a 50% off deal. So I got to go. I've been meaning to use it, and I'm like, yep, I think tomorrow, Scott, I'm going to go
This will
ahead
get you in gear, knowing what's coming.
I want to have a nice new coat, and then, find another home for the older one. Although I think one of my jackets last year got a little... scraped up because of the dogs.
Oh, that happens.
You know when that happens, the dogs come up and greet you, and I'm like, no, you got to stand back a little bit because, you that little tear, a little rip here and there. So
cold wind chill's coming. Nothing on the minus side that we see right now.
No, nothing on that side of things, but 7 in Worthington, and
It'll feel like it's -7 maybe because it's been so warm.
And it's been going down every day. I've shown this week. I think we started on Monday, didn't we? This?
Oh, yeah. We were on this on Monday.
So, yeah, you know where the trend is. It's going down. So it doesn't have to go a lot lower than 7 to get to 0.
Speaking of trend, let's go ahead and talk about the pattern. And I think I'm just concentrating on our snow. We'll go ahead and skip over that 500 millibar pattern. Concentrating on the snow because we have the clipper coming through on the European model. And again, the newer data, I don't think this is the newest run. This is from 0Z, the 6Z data just came in a little bit ago, but that takes longer to come in. It doesn't go out as far. So that's why I keep this graphic at 0Z. Now that, of course, has the accumulating snow north of Sioux Falls. I showed you the update to that earlier. It moved it to the south, right over Sioux Falls. So I just wanted to explain that. But even going out beyond this weekend, there's nothing more showing up in South Dakota. Yeah. Well, warm again. We talked about warming again.
Lake effect snow I see across the Great Lakes.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, this is off the American model, the GFS. And we talked about that early in the week, too.
Yep. So you're going to have that. You're going to have Black Hills snow, too. Don't forget that.
Yes.
If you're in Lean Deadwood, you're going to get snow. This pattern Friday night into Saturday is going to yield some snow there.
Probably some headlines out that way.
That could be, yes. That would not take a lot.
We'll have to talk more about that probably tomorrow, too.
Lots more to talk about tomorrow.
So there's the snow on the American, and I stopped it there just to show you this weekend. And then as we continue to fill things in over the next week and a half beyond the weekend, I don't see anything new showing up in KELOLAND. So after this hit of winter, we'll warm again, return to the fall temperatures I think we've grown more accustomed to this year. That's our time for this edition of Weather or Not. Thank you for joining us, and have yourself a great day.